so much, Joelle. What a beautiful, beautiful activation and start to our time together today. Let's take a moment, put our hands on our heart again. Let's take a breath in and let it out. Beautiful. End of year review. Express yourself. So before we go into the express part of end of year review, let's take a moment to just check in and make sure that we are on the same page. What the heck is end of year review? Just in case that's had you lost in any way, let me clarify and simplify. So end of year review is just an opportunity, one more opportunity to engage in self-assessment. Write that down. The power of self-assessment applied to the previous 12 months. That is end of year review. Self-assessment in simplicity is what worked about this year. What didn't work so well about this year? And based on what I now know from answering questions 1 and 2, what will I do differently as I go forward? Over the last few weeks in our weekly training and roundtable sessions, we've been looking at additions to the simplistic essence of self-assessment and end of year review by looking at what do we want to review in regards to knowing ourselves as highly sensitives and as highly sensitive entrepreneurs and leaders. And then value, really looking at what has pissed us off about 2020, about this year, and using that to direct us, to lead us, to be more clear about what we value. And then here we are looking at expression. So if you're looking to take end of year review and assessment further and deeper, you will find a training about 6-month assessment in the Online Learning Center. And I know that, or I believe that Lorna has planned to speak to you in a bit about how to take that and apply it to 12-month assessment, if that's something that you desire for yourself. So we focus on knowing and valuing, and then expressing why. Why do we bother to do this? Why do we bother to do this as part of end of year review? Why do we bother end of year review? And then why do we bother to do these additions as part of end of year review? And why now, especially with 2020? Well, here's the thing. I don't know about any of you, but I can tell you this about myself in regards to where I'm at this time of year, in this particular year. I am tired. I am tired. I feel weary. I feel the effects of everything that 2020 has brought. And because one, I'm tired at this time of year in general. Typically, it's gotten darker, the days are shorter, there's a lot going on as we move into the holidays. And then you add on top of that a global pandemic. You add on top of that a racial pandemic. And that's a lot. That's a lot for anyone. That's a lot for those of us who are highly sensitive. So I totally get that the tendency is to crawl under the covers and to turn on Netflix until January 2nd, maybe January 3rd. Okay, maybe the morning of the 4th, or how long we could possibly stretch it. But here's what I also know in all of the work that I've done over all of these years for myself as a highly sensitive and for those that I mentor as a highly sensitive, is that when we allow ourselves to fall into the space of avoidance, when we allow ourselves to fall into the space of coping, then all we get is more avoidance and more coping. So out of all the years, I am going to engage in end of year review this year. Now, here's something else about this year. So, according to researcher and author Jim Collins, who's the author of Good to Great and many other excellent books, especially in support of the entrepreneurial journey or just the innovative way of approaching business and life, is there's one key that we can count on. Well, maybe the second key. The first key that we can all count on is that someday we are going to die. That's a given. The second key, according to Jim Collins, is that if we are actually interested in excelling in business, in life, then we must become masters of change. Write that down. His exact words are, uncertainty is chronic. And I suggest that you write that down as well. In his words also, there is no going back to normal. Hopefully, by this point in the year, we can all in this community at least recognize we shouldn't want to go back to what was normal, because what was normal was not working, except for a few. A certain race, certain looks, certain income. 2020 is giving us an opportunity to change that. According to Jim Collins, we're also not going to emerge from this pandemic into a new normal. All we are going to truly have the opportunity for as a result of this pandemic is to be masters of change. No back to normal, not even a new normal. So perhaps a better way to look at it is mastery of change is the new normal. The good news is that everything in this program is designed to support you with that. As I've been saying from the very first days of the pandemic, as highly sensitives who have been conscientiously engaged in operating from our strengths, we've been preparing for this pandemic for a long time. Everything in this program is designed to support you in mastering change, including the new programming, not just the content of the new programming, just new programming in general. So you get to decide how it is that you engage in that mastery path of change. But that's what's going to continue to happen, whether you consciously choose to engage in it or not. So where does express come in? Well, in the crown, it follows knowing and value, because to know yourself and to be clear about what you value then informs how it is that you express yourself in your business and your life. It clearly and effectively supports you with really being able to express what it is that you need based on what you know and what you value. Clearly and effectively are the key words. That clarity and effectiveness is a state of regality when it comes to expressing. And that state of regality is highly sensitive leadership versus acting out by either inappropriately erupting or destructively imploding with anger, because that is what happens when you operate from shadows, operate from coping. Your ability to express is hindered, and that's a hard place to lead from. So with here, I'm going to ask Susie to bring up the 5 crown questions that I first introduced as part of the fall 2020 virtual training retreat. And these 5 crown questions are beautiful guideposts to support you in being in a process of continuously honing what you know, what you value, and how you express yourself, from just day-to-day interactions to deep, difficult, courageous conversations. So I'm going to invite you now to put your hand on your heart, one hand on heart, and to pick up pen, pencil, keyboard if you absolutely need it, but ideally you're writing. One hand on heart, these 5 crown questions in front of you. I invite you to write down this question. Where am I meant to be speaking up from my strengths in 2021? And let the answer follow. Where am I meant to be speaking up from my strengths in 2021? Breath in and let it out. Next question. How are the 5 crown questions meant to support me in speaking up in 2021? Allow the answer to come. Breath in and let it out. From this space of what came through or began to come through as responses to these questions, this is meant to be folded in to your end of year review, because the ability to express, again, effectively, is absolutely going to be key in supporting you in being able to maintain strength and to stay steady as we enter into 2021, continue through these exceptional times. Also, the ability to express clearly and effectively based on deeply what you know about yourself and clearly what you value. That is your direct path to freedom, true freedom, not Disney cruise freedom, true freedom. And it is also your path to being able to positively affect change, which equals what you are meant to lead as your legacy and what you are meant to leave as your legacy. Because how you show up every day is your legacy. So what is 2020 meant to show you? Yes, we're tired. Yes, we need some conscious time of rest and recharging as part of this time of year and as part of this time of this year. But let's do it intentionally. Let's do it from our highly sensitive strength of conscientiousness. That is the way that you can guarantee that you will be positively changed and will be available to support others in positively changing as a result of this incredible year. Breath in and let it out. And with that, Susie, we can stop the screen share. And Lauren, I'm going to hand it over to you for Community Curator Corner time.
Awesome. Well, I am going to start a different screen share. Let's see. You guys seeing it? The Online Learning Center?
You see just the little tab.
How about that? Let me try it again.
There we go. Got it.
Oh, I took it away. Let's try that. Yes, Heather?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So I wanted to just take a moment today to share some tips and quick updates about the Online Learning Center. And so the 3 things I wanted to look at are the search and then 2 parts of the training library. So just in case you weren't aware, we have this search feature. It looks like a little magnifying glass. And if you click on it, it brings up a search box, which I think we are all familiar with. And so you can search for things in our Online Learning Center there. And I will say this about the search. We are good here at Business Miracles, but we are not the Google search engine. So it doesn't work exactly the same way as the Google search engine, and you'll have the most success with the search feature if you are typing in a word from a title of a training that you're looking for. So if you kind of know the title, or like, oh, there was something about selling success, let me type in selling and see what comes up. That's a great place, a great way to use the search feature. And then the next part I wanted to bring up is the training library. So when you're in your online learning center, if you click on training library, you have two items that show up. We're going to go to the leadership training library. And if you click on that, I'm not going to go in. Well, heck, why not? Let's go in. This is the place where you can like, well, I don't really know if there's a training about this or what it would be called, but like, I want to browse the stacks. So like, I don't know. I know I'm older than some of us in this community, but you know, like when you had a library that you would walk into and you'd browse the stacks, what book looks good? So in here, there's it's divided by category, and you'll also see this is the training request process. So all of our trainings from all the different tracks are listed out in this training library section. And I do want to say that we have 88 trainings total. Yay, and they are all available to you. Currently, 84 of them are ready to go. You'll find just 4 of them that are not quite up yet because it says the title and it says coming soon, because we are curating new material. We want you to have the newest material. And so they're on their way. And I can say by the end of March, for sure, they'll be up there, which is more than still half of your program training year left. And they all also are, all the ones that aren't available yet are at the end of the training tracks that they belong to. So if you're spreading out your training about every 2 to 3 weeks, doing one of your trainings as is recommended, it will be there when you are ready for it, when you get there, okay? So the other tool that I wanted to look at under the training library is the top 10 tools. And you probably had a chance to be in there, but just in case, let's see if it'll load for me. There we go. So the top 10 tools is a place where you can have quick access to nervous system and mindset management tools like the order form to the universe, the RAINSIT process, the 30-day plan. And since we were talking about assessment, and Heather did mention the 6-month assessment, this is where you'll find it in our new program. So the 6-month assessment is in the top 10 tools. And the 6-month assessment can also be used for 12-month assessment. We're going to add in the word and 12 here in January. So it's going to say 6 and 12-month assessment. So you can use it mid-year or end of year, and you can apply it to a 6-month period or to a 12-month period or any other period that makes sense for you. Maybe since you joined the program, maybe that's like 8 months ago, right? So just know that that's how you can use that 6-month assessment. It's really quite an awesome process, and we made it into a worksheet for you. So you can just fill it out as you go instead of having to write on a separate sheet of paper. So that's it. That's awesome. I wanted to share because these are new features in our new program. None of them were available in the old program. So that's the positive side to change that Heather was talking about, right? Yay! Okay. And then from there, let me just share with our newest members and also as a review for everyone in the program, because we're going into our breakout sessions in a moment here. So I just want to remind you how that works. In the breakout session, please stay on video. Make sure you're still muted in case Zoom unmuted you like it sometimes does. And you'll just raise your physical hand to ask a question or to share in the smaller breakout session. And when the coach calls on you, simply unmute yourself. And we're also asking that you please stay off the Zoom chat feature, as that creates a distraction for you and others. So instead, you can always use the community forum afterwards to share anything additional and to keep the conversation from today's training and breakout sessions going. And the last thing, of course, wait until the very end of the breakout session for the technology to return you to the main room, as one of our breakout groups is meeting here and we do not want to disturb them. All right, That's all I have for the Curator Corner today, Heather. So back to you.
All right, beautiful. Thank you for that, Lorna. I really appreciate it. We're going to go into our breakout sessions with the opportunity for connection, discussion, masterminding in specific support of end of year review and specific support in regards to expression of what you know and what you value, and how that's meant to support you in being able to create what it is that you want for yourself and as we enter into 2021. So Susie, we're going to go into breakout sessions for 23 minutes. 23 minutes.
Joelle, do you need assistance?
What's that?
I didn't know if you needed help getting on the Zoom.
I'm on the Zoom. I'm not in a room.
No, you're in the main room today.
Okay. Oh, my apologies.
That's
okay. I just went completely. Thank you.
No,
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh my goodness. I expected to be swept away again. And then of course I'm here. Thank you. Course correcting right now. So welcome to your breakout session for this week's highly sensitive leadership training. Just these breakout sessions can be used for focused training, support, masterminding, general coaching support, depending on the week. So I'm going to take a moment here just for us to just connect, ground, and to start today, let's all just take a moment to place our hands on our hearts. And take a moment here to take a deep breath in and let it out. And then look around this breakout session and make note of the members sharing this session with you. So just do a quick little check, see who's in our room with us together. Beautiful. Beautiful. So take a moment here. We're going to set a one-word intention for this session. So check in with yourself. What would be your one-word intention for the session, and go ahead and write it down. This will support you in receiving exactly what you're meant to receive from this session. Beautiful. Beautiful. So a friendly reminder that when we receive the 3-minute signal at the end of the session, I will give a gracious interruption to support us with wrapping up. Okay. Beautiful. So let's begin. So I would love to hear a share of anyone who received clear guidance from the auto writing that you did and would like to share. So all you need to do is just raise your physical hand and I'll call on you and you can unmute yourself. So who received really clear guidance from your 2 questions that you checked in with Heather prior to coming into this, well, not leaving anywhere, but coming here? Who received some clarity? Lisa, go ahead and unmute yourself. Thank you.
Okay, I received clarity that I meant to talk about the ascension process and this golden age that we're starting into, and to talk about earth grids and energy grids. And it's uncomfortable for me to share that, but that's what I got. So, and then the 5 questions was they're meant to support me by just being reminders.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. I could even feel sort of like in my body, there was like this fluttering in my heart when you were talking about like ooh, this is kind of exciting and kind of scary all at the same time. So there was this energy about this that feels really wonderful and exciting and nervous, a little bit of nervousness in it, and so beautiful. So great that you landed into that place. Thank you for sharing that. I'm glad that you got that level of clarity. Beautiful. Anyone else who received clear guidance? Alona, yes, please unmute yourself.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, Alona.
So what I received today is that I am meant to herald good news and remind my tribe while they're here. And that good news is as we ascend into higher levels of conscious awareness and we tap in there, anything is possible. And to remind them why they're here at this time in history and what they're meant to do.
Beautiful.
Thank
So that
you.
sounds super clear. Yeah, beautiful. And I could also just feel that in my heart as well. There was like a groundedness about the way that you shared that.
Thank
So
you.
beautiful.
Yes.
Thank you, Alona. Awesome. So who would like support with either end of year review, express yourself, or or any other aspect of end of year review? I'm here to serve and support. Sherry, please unmute yourself.
Hi, I guess the expressing myself has been an area where I've been challenged. And while it's easy for me to express myself one-on-one, based on results, I have not had the courage yet, to express myself in a larger platform. So stepping into this is a little bit new, and I'm working through that.
Mm-hmm. So what's the support that you need in regards to that specifically?
It is just a step at a time, but support is appreciated.
I'm sorry, you froze on my end. Did she freeze everywhere else? Okay, I just want to make sure it wasn't just me. Could you just share the last couple sentences that you shared so we make sure we all heard correctly?
Sure. So I guess I'm just looking for some support and clarity in how I can, I know it's a step at a time and, stepping into it and learning, but if there's any insight that anyone might have on helping me to take those steps, I would appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. So it sounds like you're looking for support both of myself and of the community. Would I be correct with that?
Yes.
So I'm going to open it up to this community and we'll just make this a little mastermind. Does anyone have anything for Sherry that could really support her in being able to be in that sort of step-by-step process of building her courage? Lisa, thank you.
Well, Sherry, you could set yourself a tiny little goal, like, I don't know what platform you're talking about. If you're talking about a Facebook Live or, but you could say, I'm going to do a 3-minute video on YouTube, or you could just do something small, something tiny. And then as you do it, you build your confidence by and expect that before you do it, you're going to be really nervous and not want to do it and resist it. But just do it. So that's my input.
Beautiful. Thanks, Lisa.
Mm-hmm.
Heather, thank you.
If I can build off of Lisa's suggestion in terms of that small goal, but I can relate to those baby steps, and something that supported me was the contrary evidence. So kind of continuously making that little, like, what have I done in the past that can support me in moving that one step forward. And then also just having a jar or a document of what you did today to courageously show up on some level, even if it isn't fully in the aspect that you want to just kind of continue to build that foundation of, I have done something courageous, even though it may not be the exact goal that I'm reaching for, but I'm making those baby steps forward. And it may help, like Lisa said, to set that goal over a week so that you can kind of each day build that little goal by little goal, but making a record of it to see that, wow, yes, it may be small, but it's a step forward in the right direction. And by the end of the week, there is that opportunity to accomplish that step forward in courage. Just a thought that way.
Beautiful. Thank you, Heather.
Yeah,
Sherry, how are you doing with
that's
what you've received
great.
so far?
Yeah, thank you. Very well. I think the specific examples of Facebook Live, but are very helpful. But I really like the idea of having a jar tracking what I've done, because I have, it's easy for me to speak in a group. I've given lots of presentations. I've given lots of trainings online. But I think the part that is really stopping me is having a website or something more complete that says, to my friends and my son's friends and everyone else, this is who I am, in a very transparent, fuller manner than I've done it before. So I really like your idea of that jar helping me, to document little steps that I'm taking going in that direction. That's very helpful.
Beautiful. So as you're thinking about this as, the really helpful seed, right? Beginning to think of like how you would implement that into 2020, right? How you're going to set that up. And then also just as a quick check-in, you probably may not have the answer right now, but like what level of accountability do you want from us as a team and as a community to hold you to that, right? Because it's one thing to say like, yeah, it's 2021 and I'm going to get started, right? And then to, without the accountability, just fall through the cracks. So I'd like you to muse on what accountability is going to look like for you specifically, and for anyone else who's really received something from this mentorship exchange and mentor, whatever, the MM. I just have MM in my head. So this exchange, what are you receiving for yourself? And so also Sherry, for you, just making sure that you put that on the forum, and then the team will have an eye on you. And so will the community, because, everyone here will definitely have an eye on you. Beautiful.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Excellent. So I know that Heather said we'd be back at 12:40, and in this room, we do not receive a little sort of notice of time. So yes, Susie.
No, we go back at 12:50. So it's a 23-minute mastermind. So you'll get a 3-minute message in about 6 minutes.
Beautiful. Oh my gosh, my math was so off. Can I tell you how horrible I was at math in school? So it's clearly showing up here also. Beautiful. So 10 more minutes. Yay. So anyone else who would like support with either end of year review, expressing your self-focus, or any other aspect of end of year review for yourself? Was that a hand, Heather?
Yes and no. If I could just share for a moment, I think the one part from today was the aspect of expressing. And I think it's not a challenge, it's just a new way of looking at it, to be able to really express for going into 2021, because there has been some hiccups this year. Welcome to 2020. But in general, just on how to interact with other people and how to set boundaries and really set those different things. So I think the aspect of expression just really makes me think in terms of the year in review and really understanding it. So it's not necessarily support, just wanted to share that the aspect of expressing really just landed for me in terms of being able to summarize how I'd look at this year of where didn't I express, where can I express more, and how can I take those learnings to apply to 2021, whether I'm working in my own business or working for someone else. So
beautiful. And what
just sharing.
No, beautiful.
Yeah.
But I would love to hear, like, what were some of the things that you landed on in terms of do differently for 2021 in terms of your expression?
Yeah, I think it's just really being clear with the boundaries. So when I say that I'm not available, I'm not available. And even though, yes, there's clients that need to have deliverables, and I understand that when you're working with other agencies, the client does come first, but there's also, I can't serve the client if I'm half present. So really trying to stick to that when there's other people in my environment that really push my boundaries to say, no, you need to do it. And it's like, nope, I can't, like, it's not, or something needs to come off my plate. So just being very constructive and not forceful and really berate, or that other level of internal combustion that Heather brought up of like, I internally get very frustrated when I tell people and then they just kind of beat around the bush. And I'm like, no, I mean this, but it just doesn't seem to care. So that's an aspect of really working on clear communication, but to express it in a way that I understand you, but I also having that both and. I hear you, I understand that the client is first, but I also need to take my personal, kind of my own personal self first, so that I can fully show up to support that client and business.
Beautiful. And because I heard you use the word trying to stick to that, which implies a little bit of hesitancy here.
Yes.
So I'm curious, it brings up a question of like, what are some of the things that you see yourself possibly putting into place so that you can shore up that hesitation within you, right? So lack of coherence, right? We did that meditation at the beginning of like, how can you come into coherence and alignment with that desire to have clear communication, clear boundaries, right? So it's not trying, because the energy of trying is out of alignment.
Yeah. I think it's just really being more strict on my schedule, in the sense of like, I can't even allow clients or people to book at that time. And really, they're always like, well, let us know if you can change that. And it's like, no, I understand there's certain situations, but I've always bent the kind of the expectation to people please. And I think it's now going into 2020. It's not that I don't respect the client and the client doesn't come first. Enough's enough. I've had, from an expression point of view, I'm tired of bending over backwards to support others when I can't even do it for myself.
So I totally get that. And I hear that. And I'm hearing like there's this next step needed here in terms of a practical action step for you that would begin the process of setting that structure in place. So what comes to mind for you in terms of a practical, it could be energetic step, right? To align, or energetic and actual outer step for you. So what does that look like for you in particular?
For me, energetically, also just taking a look at my week of the highs and the lows. I found that something had been handy that I had started to implement is like, I only have certain days where I have meetings. Thursdays and Wednesdays seem to be very good in terms of workload. It gives me time to take a look at my schedule early in the week, get some things done and go. And so that has been working, and that's something I want to plan to stick to in the new year, and really just be concrete. And I know it suits me well, but putting it into play in terms of before the end of the year, or kind of like between Christmas and New Year's, that week I have time off to really set it so that going into the new year, I don't already have hiccups in that first week. It is already established and put into play.
Beautiful. So I'm hearing that there's like the preparation of getting the schedule in place for yourself so that you can begin the new year clean, fresh, and have that ability to clearly communicate your needs and boundaries to other people. Energetically, what would be the step that you feel would best support you in being able to stick with it?
Yeah, and it definitely would come down to the tool that's been helpful for me. I like the OFTU as the week, kind of just what don't I want to happen, all that. But there is some BTT around saying no to people and not falling into the people pleasing, and so much so that I lose income. Like it's that the layers kind of go. So that is a tool in general that I'm working on, but it's to continue that, to really build contrary evidence that by me sticking up for myself, I'm not going to not be valued. I'm not going to not make income. I just saw the 3-minute mark, but that's kind of just really sticking to those hard and building that courage within.
Beautiful, beautiful. So if you need any accountability in regards to this,
I think I posted in the community that I just got a puppy. So Thursdays will be the days that I check in, just because I have time slotted, but to continue just sharing that rating of how that BTT is going, and when questions or prompts come up, to share in the community.
Awesome. Awesome. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. So Awesome. So I'm going to, since we received our 3-minute signal, I'm going to ask you here just to mute yourself if you haven't, and take a moment here to write down for yourself any remaining asks that came forward for you, that you will bring to the forum. So take a moment here just to do that. And if your sense is that, you're pretty clear on this, then take a moment here to review your notes. And as you're reviewing through those notes, beginning the process of highlighting your primary takeaway, what you heard from the coaching interaction that we had today, and how you see yourself using it. And when you are complete, just placing your hands on your heart, because in a short moment, we will have a flood of incoming members back into this room. So take a moment here to just place your hand on your heart, to really ground yourself for that rush of member energy, and be in this place of open, welcoming energy. So take a moment here, and I invite you to close your eyes while we wait for everyone to flow in to the room.
Everyone should be back now, Heather.
Beautiful. Let's all take a breath in and let it out. Wonderful. So more than ever, I so look forward to seeing your takeaways on the forum, what you heard through this weekly training and breakout session, and how you will use it. Support yourself with being succinct and effectively expressed as a highly sensitive leader by really supporting in that 20-word or less frame. I am seeing just incredible miracles continuing to transpire for each and every one of us in this community as we continue through these exceptional times together. And I'm seeing each and every one of us empowered to really, from that space of regality, very effectively be able to express what we need, and as a result, how it is that we are here to be of service and how we are here to be served within our own journey and process as well. Let's take a breath in and let it out. I am going to ring out 2020 with a dance break. So as Susie gets ready to start the music, know that I am leaving you with many holiday blessings, business miracles. Use your sensitivities as strengths until our first weekly training and roundtable of 2021.